do revert back to like lizards, some to primates, some to other sort of versions of I guess the
And
idea.
Wolf was terrifying. I can't remember what. Oh, somebody was a spider. I think somebody was a
I think
spider.
somebody, yeah. I think the episode is, if I'm not mistaken, it's the final. It's still in the final season. It is. It's season 7, episode 19. It's called Genesis.
Right.
That is the episode. So yeah, if you just go back a few episodes from this one, you can watch Genesis. And I think I don't recall Nurse Ogawa being pregnant in that episode, but I'll take your word for it, Kat.
I'm sure she'd lost the baby, or there was an episode where she'd lost the baby. So I was quite surprised by the time we get to this episode, obviously the finale,
that they kind of go back to that.
She looks very heavily pregnant, or very pregnant.
Yeah,
sort of 6-7 months.
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, again, I don't recall her particularly being pregnant in that episode, but I'll take your word for it. Which kind of makes me want to go back and watch that episode now, because that was like a really wild episode, because they really had fun with all the makeup and stuff, and like kind of the idea of people reverting back to earlier forms and sort of like.
I could be wrong, because I'm sure there's a time paradox where everybody's. It might be one where everybody's getting slightly younger, or Geordie's eyes are starting to mend themselves.
Right,
I can't remember the episode.
Well, that's this episode. In All Good Things, toward the end, yeah, Geordie does get like new eyes, like they.
There's another episode.
Really?
Where.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it is.
There's one where it gives him like temporary sight or so, like. I think it starts to go away, maybe?
I'm sure she said Geordie's eyes are starting to regenerate.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. And that, I think I've seen
I cannot remember the episode.
I would have remembered it more, but I know what you're talking about.
It's either that one or it's the Genesis one. I can't remember.
Well, I was just coming around after I was watching the ones for this, to refresh my memory, and somewhere along season 3 or 4, I started just watching them continuously, like in a row, all the ones that I hadn't watched. Well, all of them that I hadn't watched at this point in time. Not the ones I hadn't watched ever, so things I hadn't seen in a long time I rewatched or whatever. But so I haven't gotten to season 7 yet, except for this episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, certainly, like the whole time paradox, or like time shifting, chronoton particles, like that all was definitely stuff that they would always go back to in Trek. So yeah, I don't particularly recall that either, but it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It just means I don't remember it. But yeah, I'm sure that there was another episode where Geordie started to get his eyes back, or yeah, I don't doubt it. Okay.
I wish I could remember it. Certain episodes obviously stick out more than others, and it was only mentioned, it was a scene, and it was literally a 2-minute scene, so that's why I can't really remember the exact episode it was in, because she was never a major character, so it was only going to be like a sort of side note, wasn't it?
Right.
Story.
Yeah. So next scene, we jump forward to the future. Picard wants to go see Data, because he feels like he'll know what to do. We find out that Data is now at Cambridge University. He's teaching there. Of course he is. Picard continues to see the angry people yelling at him, but he's the only one who can see them. And this time we've got a guy who looks like he escaped from a Thor movie, and a big epic beard, or maybe a Lord of the Rings series. Like, he just seems to, yeah, it's really getting, even more people are showing up now yelling at him, but Geordie does not see them. So, of course, leading Geordie to be like, oh boy, he's lost it. He's crazy now. So now we jump to Cambridge University. Data looks like he's got emotions now. I guess he's gotten the emotion chip or whatever. He also has lots of cats, which is very strange to me. But he's got a ton of cats. He's put a gray streak in his hair to give himself more.
I didn't know if he wanted to be more like relatable or like look more distinct.
I love his tea lady as well.
Oh, Jethel.
Cat's name Spot. That's what I'd like to know.
I wonder. They might be. They might
always.
That's true. He had his cat Spot back on the Enterprise, and maybe they're all named Spot. I don't know. But Data's just so funny, trying to be human as always. I do love how when he says about his tea lady Jessel, he's like, she can be trying, but she does make me laugh. And it's just, I don't know. I love Brent Spiner, and I love whenever we can see him playing Data different ways. Like, and this episode we do see that, right? We see Data with emotions. We see Data as we know him today. And we see Data when we first meet him, where he's very literal and doesn't seem to understand like expression and stuff. But
so yesterday I watched. It's one where he wants to do small talk, and he ends up talking to, this. He was like, "Oh, you can call me whatever." Now I can't even remember what his name was. Anyway, but he ends up dying in the episode. But Data learns how to talk to him.
The Schizoid Man. Is that the name of the episode?
I can't remember. But whenever they're just going through Netflix, I don't always register what the names of them are necessarily.
In regards to Data, though, I thought it was a really nice nod to see him at all stages of his character development, that they showed sort of how he was in the beginning and to how he progressed, obviously, to his sense of humour at Oxford. I thought it was a really nice sort of nod to see all those changes in the one episode, definitely.
Oh yeah, I love watching Brent Spiner do stuff like this because I think he's just so good at it.
Yeah.
And in real life, like, Brent Spiner is a comedic actor. He's quite funny, and he has a really good sense of timing. So to see him be able to use that in Data, I think is great.
When I got a photo op with LeVar Burton, mine lasted longer than other people's because I go to walk up, and this is what I did is I brought children's books to have a picture taken with them because, reading Rainbow.
Sure.
But I would walk up, and before we can take the pictures, Brent Spiner opens up the curtain from the photo area next door, and then he starts like harassing LeVar Burton, like ridiculous things that didn't make sense, but I'm sure were inside jokes, and it was so funny. And they're like, "Oh yeah, well, you tell your mom," or whatever. Like, they're just like going back and forth for like 10 or 15 seconds or whatever. Like, it was hilarious, and I'm just laughing and holding these books, like waiting for him.
That's
so good to hear.
Yeah, don't you just love? Isn't it great, like, when you hear like actors that you really like who have played characters that you love, that they're just like nice people in real life?
Yeah.
Like, you hate to hear like, oh, Brent Spiner, yeah, he's a total Nazi and hates everybody. Oh no, don't say that.
I know. It's the worst.
The thing I liked best about that in particular is that just shows that they're all, well, that some of them are still friends. I don't know if all of them are or not, but just that some of them can still be friends after all this time and be silly with each other and stuff. I just thought that was great.
Yeah.
I think the only one who had problems with that was Bill Shatner, wasn't it? He was, I mean, there's so much. There's so many stories. There's that wonderful YouTube, have you seen the video with Wesley? Sorry, who plays Wesley?
Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton,
yes.
Thank you. And he's talking about the first time he meets William Shatner. If you haven't listened to it, you should. It's hysterical.
Hilarious. Yeah, we could probably do a podcast about all of things about William Shatner because he actually lives, well, one of his houses is not real far from where I live because, he owns horses and stuff. So he goes to the horse shows and stuff. So there are like stories of people like talking to him or running into him at places around town or at the horse shows and things.
Oh boy.
Do you know who lives in my town? And I'm not joking. I've spoken to him. Dr. Bashir.
Ah,
Get out of town.
I'm not even joking. He is lovely.
lives in your town?
Yeah, Julian. He lives in my town.
Oh my gosh, I really like that actor a whole lot. Do you know that his uncle was also in a Star Trek movie?
Yes,
cool.
yes.
His uncle was in Generations, the first
right.
Next Generation movie that they made. He plays the older guy who's trying to get back to the Nexus. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's been in a million things. That's they are related. Look at that.
Yeah, they are. It's his uncle.
That is so
cool. he's so lovely though. He's really, really nice. I've spoke to him a couple of times, but he's always been absolutely lovely.
Oh, that's so cool. Nice. Look at that.
That's great, because one of them I saw yesterday, one of them I watched yesterday too, was where they dock at Deep Space Nine, and Bashir's like, using the sick bay on the Enterprise to test this thing, and Data has all these visions and stuff because he gets shot with like a ray from it and all that stuff, and I was like, oh, it's Julian.
Yeah.
Whenever he comes up, and Cindy's like, okay.
That's another character that they really took him from being almost a caricature of somebody to being like a really interesting, multi-layered character. Which a lot of credit to the actor for doing that. For being able to take that character from just a very young, naive, chasing women all the time guy to really making him multi-layered and serious and great. Yeah, I'm so, that is really cool that he lives in your town and you've like had a chance to talk to him. That's really cool.
If you see him at the store or something, just be like, I was telling my friends, and they just think you're lovely.
I've seen him at the station. He's sort of driven up in his car and picked up friends, I suppose, who've come to see him. But I spoke to him in the supermarket because he was alone. He was really nice, and I just said, "Look, I'm really sorry. I just got his signature for my husband." And he was just really nice. Started chatting. He said, "Oh, are you local?" I said, "Yeah, I just live sort of not far." And I just said, "We've just finished watching." I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been DS9. And I said, "We've got nothing else to watch, And he said, "Oh, you should try watching so and so." And he was really genuinely so sweet and so engaging. So it's lovely because you never know how it's going to go, and you're sort of apologetic. You don't want to disturb them and don't want to take up their time, but you just want to say hi and how much you enjoyed something that you've just watched. But no, he was an absolute sweetheart.
Well, that's great. That's awesome. Back at Cambridge, Data basically tells Picard that he's going to run a bunch of tests on him to see if, what he's saying is really happening or if he's just, cuckoo. And, okay, so now they've got a plan. We jump back to the past. This is Picard arriving on the Enterprise for the first time. There's a really cute little scene where he, reads an order from, the Admiral that he has to take command. And again, we see, he sees, again, these people who are, yelling and screaming at him. Also, again, the start date is 4/11/48, which is Saturday, April 27th at 23:63 hours. He takes command of the Enterprise. And again, he sees these people yelling at him, and no one else sees them. Of course, he then calls for a red alert, which, of course, the crew is like, huh? And you see Tasha have to, like, remind everybody, like, you heard what the captain said. Let's go. Like, don't just stand there like idiots. So, yeah, they call a red alert. Picard says that he's not going to tell this crew about his time shifting. He meets with the senior staff. He's asking Troy if she can sense an alien presence. And what he's really wanting her, he wants to see if she can sense Q, because this is the right time, right, that they first meet him. She says, "No, I don't sense an alien presence." And Chief O'Brien reports to Picard that the ships are moving to the Devron system in the neutral zone because of a spatial anomaly. So we're seeing, like, similar things are happening in different time periods. The spatial anomaly, the Devron system, and the neutral zone. Things are starting to we're starting to see events lining up, even though we're not still